Hi everyone, Mackie79 here and welcome to this new deck video of Magic Duels. As you guys can see, today we're going back to my good old Werewolves deck. I think it was the first one that I made since the expansion Shadows over Innistrad. And with the release of Eldritch Moon, they got some new toys. Now, that being said, I think that vampires, zombies and especially humans got way more better cards in the latest expansion, and I think werewolves were they were a bit left behind. Now that being said, they do got some great cards added. Sorry. Now also werewolves, I think they are a bit underrated at the moment. You don't see a lot of werewolves decks floating around. But I still like it. I still like to play with it. I think it's pretty good. It works pretty well. It's a bit faster. Yeah, it's a bit underrated, I think. So let's check out the deck and what I've changed. So first of all, the Kessig Prowler. Now this doesn't seem too impressive. I know it's a 2/1, but hey, it's a werewolf, and it's a 1-drop. As you can see in our curve. We have a lot of 2-drops and 3-drops, and before this update I didn't even have a 1-drop, so it's okay. I only play 3 because it's an uncommon, but it's nice to be able to maybe play a 1-drop, especially when you're on the play. Now with that being said, for 5 mana you can transform this guy into a sinuous predator, and then he can't be blocked by more than one creature, and he's a 4/4. So even if you draw him later in the game, it's still a nice body if you can transform him, if you have the mana for it. Yeah, and when I did the card set review, the other video, I wasn't too keen of these new cards, those Werewolf Eldrazi cards. I think they were very expensive to transform them, but now that I've played with them, I kinda come back from that statement a bit. I think it's pretty decent. When you can transform them, they're always pretty good. Not all of them are great, of course. I don't play them all neither. So, but yeah, like this guy is pretty decent for a 1 mana drop. So. It's by testing it that I figured out that they are actually pretty decent. Now the Kessig Foremaster is still in. I still like this one. It's a 2 mana cost with 1 red, and you get a 2/1, which is okay. And whenever he blocks or becomes blocked by a creature, it deals 1 damage to that creature. Now that's already very decent, because most of the time, especially in the early game, this saves this creature from dying, of course. And then yeah, you know that that ability when the beginning of each upkeep, if no spells were cast last turn, we get to transform him, and then he transforms into the Flameheart Werewolf, and when he becomes blocked or blocks, he deals 2 damage to the creature. And he's a 3/2, so pretty decent card. Lots of people don't like to play him because of the 1 toughness, but you don't see much Twin Bolt around anymore, so that's not a big problem, I guess. And other removal, yeah, for removal it doesn't matter most of the time if it's 1 toughness or a 2 toughness. It doesn't change that much with most of the cards, I think. Then the Duskwatch Recruiter still in. Yeah, it gives you a card advantage because you get to reveal a creature card if you pay 3, and yeah, you get to go 3 cards deep and search for a creature. Now, when he transforms, your creature spells cost 1 less to cast, so that's a nice bonus as well. Yeah, still a great card. Then the Lambholt Pacifist, who is also still in. For a 2 mana cost, you get a 3/3. He can't attack unless he is a power 4 or greater, but that shouldn't be a problem either. And yeah, you get to transform him. He becomes the Lambholt Butcher, and he's a 4/4. So great value for your 2 mana there. Then a new card since Eldritch Moon, and absolutely one of the... like I said, I don't think that Werewolves got a lot of cards, but they did get some good cards, and this is definitely one of them. And when you go with an all Wolves deck, a Werewolves deck, this is a must, you have to play this one. For 2 mana, 1 green and a generic, you get a spell at instant speed, very important. And you transform up to 1 target werewolf you control, and creatures you control gain trample until end of turn. Now that is really nuts. Imagine just attacking with 1 creature. It's already great because you can transform them instant speed, do a combat trick because they usually get a lot bigger when they transform, and you give them trample, and when you attack with a whole bunch of them, it's even more nuts because, yeah, even if they're all blocked, they get trample. Yeah, awesome card, and you can play all 4 copies of it. Really good addition to this deck, great value. Then the Rabid Bite, I actually got rid of the Twin Bolts. Yeah, and Rabid Bite is just a very nice card team wise, and also it's a damn good card. You pay 2 mana, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. So it's just a removal card actually, basically, and it's not a fight card because the fight cards, the creature of the opponent also does damage to your creature, and here it's not the case. You only deal damage to your opponent's creature, so yeah, pretty awesome. Whoops. Then the Geier Reach Bandit, for 3 mana 1 red, we get a 3/2 with haste, which is already pretty good. And when we get to transform him, if we don't cast any spells or our opponent doesn't, we get a Pack Alpha right here. And whenever a werewolf enters the battlefield, you may transform it. Now, yeah, that's just awesome. Most of the time you want those wolves to be big, so that's awesome. Then another new card, Conduit of the Storms. It's also with the new way to transform the werewolves. This is a werewolf horror. Pretty decent card, not awesome neither, but he's pretty good. Whenever he attacks in this form, you get to add red mana to your mana pool at the beginning of your next main phase this turn. So that's probably your second main phase. And then for 5 mana and 2 red you can transform him. And he's a 2/3, which is already a pretty decent body. And when he transforms, he becomes this, a 5/4, and whenever he attacks, you can add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool at the beginning of your next main phase this turn. So yeah, it's a pretty nice addition. It's can help you to cast the bigger spells, or more than 1 spell or whatever. Or you can use the mana to play a creature, and then you have some, maybe you have some mana open to play something at instant speed or whatever. Great card. Then the Silverfur Partisan. Now I tested this one last season and I was very happy with it actually. We paid 3 mana 1 green. You get a 2/2 trample. Okay, he's not gonna trample a lot if he stays at 2/2. But anyway, whenever a wolf or a werewolf you control becomes a target of an instant or sorcery spell, put a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield. Now the more wolves the better, so yeah, that's pretty decent. And with the Rabid Bite and with the new card, the Waxing Moon, it triggers more than before, because before I played the Twin Bolt, but now we got better tools to make his ability trigger. Then Spirit of the Hunt, a new card for 3 mana 2 green, so it's a little bit more difficult to cast, but it's more than worth it because we get a 3/3, which is nice for that cost. And we get a Wolf Spirit with Flash, so we can play him at instant speed. And then when he enters the battlefield, each other creature you control that's a wolf or werewolf gets +0/+3 until end of turn. Now, yeah, it's another combat trick actually. When you attack opponent blocks with everything, thinks he's gonna kill off your creatures, you give them +0, +3, and most of the time then they won't die. Or you can use this as a defense. Really nice card, very versatile, so you can do a lot of things with it. Very nice. Then a card that I also in the card set review didn't think much about it, but once again I gotta come back from that. I really love this card. It made me win a lot of games since I've been testing it actually. It's a Shrill Howler. We pay 3 mana, 1 green, and you get a 3/1. Okay, that's not that amazing, but his ability is because creatures with power less than him can't block it. Now, in a Werewolves deck, that's actually pretty amazing, because if you can play this early in the game, all early creatures, and it is a bit of meta, you see more little creatures and a lot of them than the big fatties, so usually they can block this guy, and when you can buff him with other things, or even when you can flip him, he becomes even bigger. Now his power doesn't become bigger, I guess. I have to check it, but I don't think so. But yeah, when you can buff him with this, for example, or with the ability of Arlinn, yeah, then he becomes a real threat that comes through all the time. And when you get to transform him, it's becoming even more ridiculous, because then you get the Howling Chorus or Chorus, or however you say it. Anyway, you still got the same ability. You can't block him with power less than him, but he's a 3/5, so he's a bit bigger, but the power is the same. But whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you get to put a 3/2 colorless Eldrazi horror creature token onto the battlefield. Now, because he almost does damage every turn, that's pretty nuts. And if you can get him to flip on your fourth turn with Waxing Moon, that's a really strong play. And I really underestimated that when I did the card set review. Now, it's by testing the cards that you get to know them, of course. So, but this was a really pleasant surprise actually by testing it. I discovered this card and I'm really happy that I did. If you get Werewolves, try him out, he's pretty awesome. Now of course the tokens that get into play that he makes, they are not wolves, they are just Eldrazi horror tokens, so they don't have the synergy with the buff cards for wolves, but hey, 3 tokens is always good, and they are 3/2, so it's not that they are weak. Then the Howlpack Resurgence, for 3 mana we get an enchantment at flash speed that is still pretty amazing. Yeah, once again, if you play wolves, this is an auto include. Each creature you control that's a wolf or werewolf gets +1/+1 and has trample. Another great combat trick. Really nice. Then Arlinn Kord, yeah, you guys still know her. She's still in most of the time for her +1 on this side, because it gives haste, +2/+2 and vigilance, which is pretty damn nuts. Or we can make a wolf token and make her flip, transform. I always say flip, it's transform. And then yeah, we get another bunch of abilities. +1 creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until the end of turn. We can deal 3 damage to a target creature or player, but we have to transform her back to this side when we do that. And her ultimate, we get an emblem with creatures you control have haste, and if we tap, this creature deals this damage equal to its power to target creature or player, so that's pretty nuts as well. Then another new card, and the last one, is Ulrich of the Krallenhorde, for 5 mana, 1 red and 1 green. This is the most expensive card in the deck, and we get a 4/4. Now it's kind of a werewolf lord, so to speak. It's a legendary creature and he's a mythic, so we can only play one of them. But he's pretty nice. There are quite some people that are a bit disappointed with him because they don't think he's good enough. Well, I think he's good enough. Okay, we get a 4/4. It's not too impressive for 5 mana, but he does a bunch of things because whenever he comes into the battlefield or when he transforms into this side, target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. That's pretty nice. That's a Titanic growth for free. Then at the beginning of each upkeep, it's the classic transform method. If no spells were cast last turn, transform him. Then we get Ulrich the Uncontested Alpha, and whenever this one transforms into this side, you may have it fight target non-werewolf creature you don't control. Now he's a 6/6, so when he flips transforms into this side, don't make him fight with a creature that is also a 6/6 or something, because that will kill this one. This is a fight ability, so the power of the creature that you fight with comes back to him. He gets damage as well, so keep that in mind. That's pretty important. And then if a player casts 2 or more spells, we get to transform him back into this side, and then we can give something +4/+4 again. So yeah, it's a card that you wanna keep flipping all the time. Actually, it doesn't matter. It's always good, and it even gets better when you flip them all the time. So I think it's a nice addition to the deck. It's a good card. It's not super powerful, but it does the trick. It's nice to have, and he's just got some nice abilities on him. Then the mana base, I've changed it a bit too, I guess. I play 3 Mountains, 9 Forest, the Cinder Glade, all 2 copies, the Rootbound Crag, all 2 copies, then still the 4 copies of the Looming Spires, and the 4 Evolving Wilds to thin out the deck. And that's the deck for you guys. I made a few changes, not that many, but significant enough to make another deck video, I guess. The previous Werewolf decks, deck videos and the gameplay videos were very popular. I got more than 2,000 hits. It's one of my best videos, so I guess people like them because they seem to see the video of it. So, but you don't see them much online, so it's a bit weird. I guess people want werewolves to be something great, and I think they are not. I think they are good and they can be fast, but sometimes in certain matchups they really suck. Yeah, but I think it's not per se worse than zombies or even humans. When you can get your early aggro on, then it's pretty decent. And when we check out the curve, that shouldn't be a problem, because the 1-drop section is a bit less, so it's a bit more early mid game, because we have a bunch of 2-drops and 3-drops, and so I'm pretty satisfied with it. I like it, and most important of all, it's fun to play with, and that's what's Magic all about. It's supposed to be fun. So, and I have a blast with this deck. So I hope you guys will as well have a blast with it, and I hope I can see you guys at the gameplay video. See you there, guys. Bye bye.